I think
Wait.
it makes sense that they would be confronted at the end and he would die, so then like we're left with the ending that like he won't be a problem in the future. Like,
Okay, is it recording?
Yeah, it just started like in the middle of his speech.
So. I think Jordan was necessary to die because I think when he died, then the whole real thing started because it was in the ambulance that they found out that he was dead. And I think Mama came back, or Monique came back to her own stage and said, I think we should really start this life over. So I feel like if Jordan was still there, Jordan would still be in their lives and abusing the kids.
Yeah, I agree. I wrote that like his death was necessary just because like if he didn't die, then they would still be trapped and they wouldn't be able to start over and like start new, and Angel and Gerald wouldn't be able to have the life that like they want.
Yeah, I also agree with that because because that like if he didn't die, he probably like would go to jail or something, but then could like just come back into their life and torture them again.
The whole plot is based on the fact that Jordan is the worst person ever. So if he didn't die, he wouldn't have a resolution or anything. The book wouldn't end, and there wouldn't be anything that any conclusion.
And jumping to the third question, when it says what foreshadowed this event, like throughout the entire book, Jordan or Gerald always was the one that wanted to expose Jordan for who he was and like what he was doing to Angel. So I feel like that was definitely foreshadowing everything. And I think that it was predictable that like he should have died and everything because he was the antagonist.
I agree with Mallory. I said I think it was predictable because like there was just always that conflict in between the two characters, and I had like a specific example that I wrote about, and I said when like Gerald and Jordan had that specific eye contact that you knew that this wasn't gonna fly, like it wasn't gonna work.
Yeah, I agree.
I had also written about that, like I feel like the foreshadowing took place in like each like evil like smile that Jordan threw at Gerald, and like it just kind of proved that he was still the same and that like it can't that couldn't just continue for the rest of the book, that something was gonna have to change. So I feel like that foreshadows that like something would happen.
I agree with all the foreshadowing, all of the things foreshadowed that this was going to happen. That was unavoidable. But there was one specific event or thing in chapter 12 when I don't remember who said it, but they said that they could see the fire in Gerald's eyes because he was so mad that he caught Jordan doing whatever he was doing. And I think that was a really specific foreshadow. And I think if you read into it enough, maybe see that this would foreshadow that Jordan would die in the fire at the end. I don't know, it's kind of pushing it, but
I said for the first question, the gradual build-up would be like Gerald just like getting older and stronger, and at first, like obviously when he's 3, he can't defend himself, but when he like moves into the house with Jordan, at the end of the book, he starts to stand up for himself.
Going back to kind of the foreshadowing, I think one specific part in the book that really described that was when it was written, Gerald knew a final confrontation with Jordan had to come. And I think kind of a major reason for that was simply because of Gerald's personality and kind of how much he loved Angel, and that kind of just, it kind of gave him the strength to be able to confront Jordan.
I kind of thought it was really interesting how in every story or movie we saw or read, there was kind of a build-up and then kind of a foreshadow of a confrontation. Like in chapter 20, Enforced by Fire, Jordan comes back and hits Monique again and Gerald again, and then they kind of look at each other, and there's kind of like a little showdown, like Jordan says, like, what are you going to do about it? And in Precious, the same thing goes, but kind of at the beginning of the movie when Precious' mom comes with like that pan and tries to hit her, and she says that's not gonna, or next time I'm gonna get you or whatever, you got away this time. And then also when this boy's life when the whole family's watching that news story, and then Dwight and Jack kind of look at each other.
I agree with what you said. I think in This Boy's Life, even when the Dwight first like told his son to shut his pie hole or whatever, I feel like even that was foreshadowing that he just like wasn't going to.
Yeah, and like also like when she won like the shooting competition, like he was really upset about it, and he was like, oh, it's just beginner's luck, like you're it's whatever, like he was just super like standoffish. So it's like you know that he like something's gonna happen.
And when he was really bitter about him getting into, I don't really know what school it was, like one of the prep schools, he like immediately started fighting him, so that just shows that he doesn't actually want the best for Jack and his life.
I agree with Anna too, that in a way, that also, this brought up to that foreshadowing event in This Boy's Life, was that how he always kept his money from the newspaper run, and how he always never let the kid buy his basketball shoes, and he just kept his music for his own money.
Alright, you have like 1 minute left for this.
I also thought it was interesting how like in This Boy's Life, the first kind of third of the movie, Dwight's not really portrayed as too bad, and then all of a sudden when Jack gets in the car to go with Dwight to live with him, it's just all of a sudden it kind of comes over Jack that he's in trouble.
Yeah, I thought there were actually a lot of similarities between Gerald and Jordan, and then also between Jack and Dwight. Like especially how in the beginning of both the movie and the book, Dwight wasn't really present at all, and like you were saying, he was portrayed as being like not that bad of a guy. Jack never had really good vibes coming from him, and then the same thing happened with Jordan and Gerald. Like we didn't even add him to the character map until like not halfway through the book, but maybe a little bit before that. And then also the similarity where there was a specific moment in both the movie and the book where it kind of foreshadowed either like an ending confrontation or a death of one of the characters. In the book, it was the, what was the example in the book? I remember in the movie, it was that specific scene when they were watching television and you just kind of saw Jack and Dwight looking at each other, and that was like probably the most obvious foreshadowing. And then in the book, when it was describing the fire in Gerald's eyes, and
It was like him and Angel were sitting together like on the couch, him and her.
or it was like something when Jordan came back from prison and like he had been doing fine for a while, and then all of a sudden he was describing the look in his eyes. I was just thought that was interesting how many similarities there actually were between the two.
Okay.